Week 2 off the leash. Mark Schwab, Leah, Doherty with you for the big share.
Hello.
The big program. Good to have you this week.
I know. Ashley was here last week.
Yep.
I was gone. I was back in Texas. Now I'm back. Ashley's gone. It's just kind of how it goes during the summer.
Everyone's still on summer vacation,
Yeah.
even the kids at school. Everything's just a little wonky. That's training camp. We are not in Carolina, clearly. The Browns are. Fred Greetham is there. Fred joined us here on the show last week, part of the OBR, the Orange and Brown Report. Our Brian Duffy talked with him after Fred observed the joint practice. We'll have that conversation in a little bit. But I want to talk about Friday, the opener. The news broke. I didn't seem to think it was that big of news that Shedeur Sanders would start. And here's what I mean by that. Because last man standing. I never expected Joe Flacco to play in the game, and if you take Dillon Gabriel out and then you take Kenny Pickett out, you only have Shedeur Sanders, so voila.
So
Shedeur
next man
Sanders,
up, as
the
you
starting
say.
quarterback. But yes, I understand, as you're going to tell me, if Shedeur is doing anything, it's news.
Right, but he's next man up. That's what I was going to say. You hate that.
I do hate
It's your
the phrase.
least favorite phrase in all of sports, but it's
Hate it.
a realistic one. No, he's the last man standing. What you could do, and it doesn't make sense to me, is trot Flacco out there, 40-year-old. You risk him getting injured, and for what? What's the point? For one series, maybe 2 series, but they're not really playing any of their ones anyways, so what's the point of sending Flacco out there? But yes, anything Shedeur does, I mean, it's engagement, it's clicks, and I think a lot of people, the narrative has been they feel like he's not getting enough opportunity in camp, even though he was their 5th round pick, and so I think it's about on par for what you would see from a 5th round pick, but it's Shedeur Sanders, so there's kind of a different story there. So I think that was big news in the sense of, clicks and engagement, and people are excited for him to finally get a chance, and I'm excited for him to finally get a chance. I mean, this is kind of when we get to see the rookies of, okay, you see training camp, but what do they really have? And that's what I'm excited to see. But no, not surprising.
I have been a little amused by the folks that say he's not getting enough of a shot. No, you're right. He's a 5th round pick.
Right.
This is what 5th round picks get.
And there's never been a star quarterback that really wowed everyone and he didn't get his chance, right? There's been no one that blew everyone away at practice, training camp, whatever, and the coach is like, you know what, you're better than everyone else, but we're not going to give you our shot. Like, if he's good enough, like, the cream's going to rise, like, the kid's going to play. You don't have to worry about it, like, Shedeur fans. Like, if he's good, if he's got the chops, like, he's going to get a shot. And he's getting a shot Friday.
I remember Russell Wilson. He was drafted as a 3rd round pick. They'd just given money to Matt Flynn to be their starter. And it was like, Russell Wilson hits camp, and they were like, he's better. We need to play Russell Wilson.
Yeah.
So I want to hear from Fred. Fred is down in Carolina, where it sounds like the joint practice, Wednesday joint practice, those are kind of the bigger deal right now. And our Brian Duffy talked with Fred a little bit ago.
All right, thanks, guys. And we are joined by Fred Greetham from the Orange and Brown Report. And Fred had a front row seat to this scrimmage, not necessarily a scrimmage, but a controlled practice between the Browns and the Carolina Panthers. Fred, let's start with this. Everybody wants to know about the quarterback play. I know I was a little surprised that all 5 guys played. I thought, since we've had some injuries with Pickett and with Gabriel, that maybe we wouldn't see everybody played. They all played. Were you surprised by that, and what'd you see?
And even to add to that, Deshaun Watson made the trip, so he was on the field. Obviously, he wasn't practicing, but they had all 6 on the roster there. Kenny Pickett and Dillon Gabriel are not going to play in the game. They participated up to the 7-on-7s and the individual drills and so forth, but they're not going to play in the game. Kevin Stefanski's hoping next week they might be able to practice if they're cleared and do more and maybe even play in the Eagles game. Joe Flacco took the majority of the first team reps. He is not going to play in Friday night's game. They did 2 series of 11-on-11s. He was followed by Shedeur Sanders, who got a couple series of reps against the 2nd and 3rd team of the Panthers. He's going to start the game. And Tyler Huntley actually arrived yesterday, and he was thrown in there in the 11-on-11s for a couple plays. The only 2 quarterbacks that are scheduled to play in the game are Shedeur Sanders, who will start, and Tyler Huntley, who they're going to see what he can do. and so he would probably be in the mop-up role. But he was with the team last year. He just arrived yesterday, but Kevin Stefanski said they're hoping, he can play. So the other 3 quarterbacks are not going to play this week. Some starters are going to play, some are not. The majority are not. Jerry Jeudy, Cedric Tillman are not going to play in this game. He didn't give us a whole lot of other names, but that's for starters.
Okay. And Fred, Joe Flacco hasn't had a lot of reps, and that's been the kind of a trending story with this. How did Joe look?
He did today, and he feels like he's starting to get into a groove the more he gets, but it's been, with that many guys. But with Gabriel and Pickett not taking part in 11-on-11s, he really got the bulk of them. Sanders only got 2 or 3 or maybe 4, and Huntley had 2 or 3. So he feels like he's getting into a groove. He feels like the closer they get to the season, he'll be ready to go. He's confident. And that was kind of all the way along was the plan, get him ready. He didn't need as much to be ready going on his 18th season, but I thought he looked pretty sharp. He had a couple good completions. He had one to Jerry Jeudy. Jeudy made a great one-handed catch. Tillman had another one over the middle. But I think, Flacco looks like he's on his way to be ready to go for the start of the season.
And so, as you know, Fred, I mean, this is going to be a huge story Friday night. It'll be a national story. People will be watching everywhere to see what Shedeur Sanders does. And he's being put in a really unique spot. As you know, he hasn't received a whole lot of reps. Some people are saying, boy, is he even going to be ready for what he's going to be dealing with come Friday night? But he is certainly getting an opportunity. Whether it's a fair opportunity, I don't know. We could debate that forever and ever, but he's certainly going to get that opportunity on Friday to show people what he can do. A lot of people looking forward to this.
Yeah, he's talked about when he has his opportunity to be ready, and ready or not, here he comes. As far as the Panthers have said they're going to start their starters. So he probably will go against their first-team defense. I don't know if the Browns' first-team offense will be out there to what degree, but it will be, everybody will be watching. And who knows? This is a chance for him with the lights go on, see what he has. A lot of people asking about him. They're going to get to look at him firsthand.
I saw a little bit after the controlled practice with Miles and with Joe. Did Shedeur speak to the media at all yet after the practice? Did you hear from him afterwards, or nothing yet from Shedeur?
No.
Okay.
No, we won't, because they're off tomorrow and then the game Friday. Last we spoke to him, I believe it was Saturday before any of this came down, with other quarterbacks being held out and his. So just Flacco and Garrett. Stefanski was pretty complimentary, just said he wants him to go out and just do what he does in practice, just take it to the field. So I think, like you say, this is going to be a chance to get a good look at the young man and see where he stacks up.
Yeah. Fred, I want to ask you one more question about the offense, and this is something that has bothered fans, and that's why I'm asking it. It's the operation of the offense, and you know exactly what that means, but I'll explain it. It's because it hasn't looked good in the last couple of years. Are they lined up? Do people know where they're going? Are people jumping the gun on the snap count? Does it appear they understand the concept of the offense? That's been a problem for a couple of years. How did they look today from the standpoint of the operation of the offense against another team?
Yeah, I thought it was sloppy. They had a couple false starts and some penalties, and Flacco talked about it after. He said that it's a point of emphasis, but they got to be better. And so that's one of the things, having an 18-year veteran. I think a lot of it falls on the lap of the quarterback. And it seemed like they were a little more efficient when he was in there. And I think that as they get closer to the season, that's going to continue to be the point. But, yeah, you can't have those pre-snap penalties. That killed them last year. And that kind of helps or hurts with rookie quarterbacks and guys that haven't been out there in the offense. So I think that will continue to be the focus and see what happens in the game the other night. You're going to have a rookie quarterback starting, but next week when they go to Philadelphia, see if they can clean that up.
Yeah, and here's an impossible question for you to answer, Fred. You watched it, you watched the whole thing. Is there a way? And we always hear people come out with, well, they won the scrimmage, or this team won the scrimmage, or did somebody win this scrimmage? Did somebody win this controlled practice, Fred? Or at least did the Browns compete in this scrimmage? And you know what I mean by that question.
Yeah, I think they did. They were going offense, the Browns offense on one field and the defense of the Panthers on the other, and vice versa. So I watched the offense with the quarterbacks and Flacco and Sanders. But on the defensive, it looks like the defense is playing pretty well. They had a couple plays I saw Panthers move the ball, but I think the defense controlled pretty well. And I think the defense of the Panthers, might have had the better hand on the Browns offense as well. So it's hard to judge, but it's all controlled and scripted. But I do think the defense for the Browns and the Panthers are both ahead of their offenses. And so the positive, I think the Browns defense, they had an interception by Tony Brown in one of the series. And on the offensive side, the Panthers, played pretty well as well on their defense.
Okay, Fred, one final question for you. You've been watching this for a long, long time. I know that. And so what am I not asking you? What's jumping out at you that you saw today that you think people need to know about?
Well, I just think, it is a work in progress, with as many quarterbacks as are out there. They need to really settle in. That's where I think the sooner they settle in with a starter, I think it would be Flacco, and get him reps, get him ready for the season. He's obviously not going to play this week, but I do think that they feel pretty comfortable with an 18-year veteran that he'll be ready to go. And so this is more of an extended practice. The coaches looked at this practice with the Panthers and the 2 next week as really being the key. So that's all I can say is be patient and see what you see and make your own evaluations come Friday night.
Okay, Fred, thank you. That's Fred Greetham from the Orange and Brown Report. We appreciate it, Fred. Look to hearing from you again. Guys, back
Thanks,
to you.
Brian.
Yep, you got it.
All right, thank you, Brian. Thank you, Fred. I thought it was interesting that Fred in the beginning was talking about how all the quarterbacks were there. I mean, Gabriel and Pickett did some things out in practice. And even Deshaun Watson, who did not practice, but Deshaun Watson was there.
Yeah, I don't know. I guess I don't know enough about like the rehab process to know if whatever trainer he's working with or something, it's beneficial for him to travel and be on the road and do that. But I would think, I know a lot of people from the outside, right, he's not really viewed as a part of this team, but in his mind, if he's still viewing himself as a part of this team, maybe there's a chance I can play this season. Well, then, yeah, you should travel and be a part of the team and learn the offense and know what's going on. And I feel like I feel like he can't win in the sense that if he wasn't there, people would be like, well, he doesn't care. He's not there. You feel differently? Yeah.
I mean, you know what, though?
I mean, people say anything
at
about
this
him,
point, that's what he deserves.
Yeah.
He's so bad, and I'm not going to turn it into a Watson show. But yeah, he's probably going to get ripped if he's not there, if he could be there. But I don't think anyone would do that because nobody should expect him to be there.
And it seems highly unlikely he's ever going to play a snap for the Browns again. But if you're trying to make the case of, hey, I want another team inevitably to pick me up, then I'm going to show that I'm invested and I care and I'm here and I'm, still trying to be a leader on this team and involved,
So Kenny Pickett went down. He was the first to go down before Gabriel. And a lot of people wondered how much is this going to hurt him? Because to me, he's the only one that actually has a small chance to win this, other than Joe Flacco. I do think it's Pickett.
Oh, yeah.
But people wanted to know how much the downtime hurts him. Offensive coordinator Tommy Rees talked about that in practice this week.
Yeah, we know Kenny. He had a good first 4 practices there and had a good offseason. So we know Kenny. We know his strengths. He's chomping at the bit to be out there. And like we talked about, hey, better now than, button up into the front end of the season. So we just got to get him healthy, and he's very into it mentally right now. He's doing a great job with the rest of the guys in the room, and he's starting to progress, throwing the ball and doing some things. So we're excited to get him back when he's healthy.
I'm not surprised. It's a hamstring. I think he was an underdog to win this, but still a shot. Because I don't think the rookies have a shot to win this Derby.
No.
I think he remains an underdog in this with a slim shot. I'm like 70-30, 80-20 that this is Joe Flacco's job.
Well, and it's interesting too when you look at the two rookies. Obviously, Gabriel's not playing in the preseason game. Shedeur, he hasn't gotten any first team drills, no reps with first team. Even today, I think Dylan had like 8 reps and Shedeur on Wednesday had 7 reps. A lot of people are saying this isn't fair, right? He's just kind of like tossed out to the wolves in this preseason game. O-line, all those first string guys are going to be resting. He's going to be with second and third string. He doesn't have Judy. He doesn't have Tillman. And at least for the first couple series, like he's going to be going against Carolina's ones. So I'm curious, do you feel like he's not been adequately prepared like for Friday night's game?
Shedeur? Because I
yeah.
don't think it matters. I think it's a fair question and a talking point, like something to discuss. But to me, it's something to kind of muse over. But I don't think it really matters. And what I mean by that, I don't think you can treat him unfairly by saying, we're going to go play you with the number ones. I think it would almost be unfair to not play him because he seems to be, if you're not going to play Flacco, and I don't think they need to play Joe, why wouldn't you play him? Like, yeah. I know he hasn't had the time, but okay, he hasn't had the time. Give it a shot. It's a preseason game. It's not the Super Bowl.
You think they're going to probably split Snoop and Shedeur like 50-50 on Friday?
I'm thinking it's 50-50-ish, maybe right at the half. Hopefully nobody gets hurt because
they can't afford for anyone to get hurt.
They can't afford to get anyone else to get it. Snoop's already a camp arm. So anyway, and we talk about the first team reps with this offense, and obviously that would involve the pass catchers. And we talked a little bit about this last week on the show, and it's clearly not an elite receiver unit, but they need these guys to obviously step up. They need Jerry Jeudy to do what he did a year ago. They need the kids to take the next step. Tillman, Thrash, they signed Deontay Johnson. They need him to be a guy. Tommy Rees was asked about his wide receivers this week.
Consistently, they talk all the time, get open, catch the ball, and compete in the run game. And that's their mantra, and that's what they're doing. You guys were out here Saturday. I thought Sed had his best practice of camp, made a couple really nice contested catches, and he's doing so many things for us in a totality standpoint of helping our offense. So it was great to see him get going a little bit, and we feel really good about the pieces there and being able to move guys to certain spots to maximize what they do, but just keep going on the trajectory they're at, and we'll find ways to build them advantageous looks to get open.
All right, so he's saying everything you would expect an offensive coordinator to say. They're all really stepping up. Do you believe that? What else is he going to say?
Well, no. There's nothing else he's going to say, right? You can't be like, I feel like we have a drop-off
Are you buying the hype? I'll phrase it that way. Do you buy the hype? Because I don't.
Hype in what? Like, we're expecting this to be a potentially, like, a playoff team? Or expecting to be better? What's the metric we're measuring these wide receivers at?
This wide receiver unit will surprise people. Do you buy that?
I think they'll be better than they were last year, but I don't. It's hard to be worse, I feel like. Right? I don't know. Like, they're hoping they can only go up from here unless they lose,
Right. Yeah,
they need 3 wins or more.
If they stink, he's not going to say it. He's saying everything you expect him to say. I expect it to be Jerry Jeudy and a bunch of guys that don't matter.
Yeah, there's been Jamari Thrash has looked good at camp. I really like Luke Floria. Like, he's been an exciting guy I've watched in camp. And when I've been out there shooting, I've got some great highlights of his. So I think there's been some fun, younger guys I've seen. Are they going to be big playmakers on this team? I don't know. I'm just hoping he makes the team. But in terms of that, no, Jeudy looks good, but you expect to see him look good, right? Sed looks good. Well, those are guys I expect to see look good, and it's not like we haven't seen a ton of Flacco with those guys, and so it's kind of hard to gauge and know because Flacco's been limited on how many times he's actually gone out there. We saw Pickett for a bit. Now he's been hurt, so yeah, you're seeing him against Dylan Gabriel or something. That's hard to judge if they're really going to wow me this year.
Luke Floria, by the way, by way of Kent State and the mighty Menor Cardinals.
Oh no, he's not Medina.
That's right. Wait.
He's Menor. Where do we go? Are we wrong?
No, I'm pretty sure he's Menor.
Am I right?
I think he's Menor.
He's a B, right?
All right, Google it. She's going to Google it. It's one of the Division I M schools.
Hold on. I was going to say, I like the B's. This is real time. This says Medina.
It is? Okay, it's Medina.
Scott was saying Menor.
This says Menor.
Okay. Oh, okay. 2 websites say Medina, but then the News Herald right here says Menor.
I'm pretty sure he was Menor.
Okay, it's got to be Minner. Why are we so split online? Okay, it's got to be Minner.
That's wild that there's conflicting reports about whether he is a B or a Cardinal.
We're not the only ones. The first two, Minner. Okay, Minner. The first two websites it pulled up said Medina. That's why it kind of had me thrown.
That's
Minner
wild.
went to Kent State. There we go. I mean, he's been working his tail off in camp, and I've seen some really good highlights of his. I like him a lot.
Those are the guys you're going to watch a lot of in the preseason,
Yeah,
and you hope they make
exactly.
plays, and
Right.
maybe there's some way somehow
And
they
he's
can
had
get on
some
the roster.
good connections with Shedeur too. So that's the stuff that that's what you look for, right? You're
That's
not
the
looking for
chemistry.
anything incredible, but you're looking for, can they play? So
All right, I want to talk about defense but I just want to talk about one guy really, and if you want to jump in with somebody else, that's cool. But Corey Schlesinger, who was their second-round pick out of UCLA. I remember the night they drafted him, and I remember you and I were in the lobby, and we were doing our reports and just talking about stuff. And I remember when they picked him, a lot of the reaction from kind of like the zeitgeist from Brown's Twitter was like, whoa, at the time people were still surprised they didn't take Shedeur, they didn't take a quarterback, whatever. But I remember thinking, nobody talks about linebacker as a need, but it was kind of a need because you could see a path where a year from now they really needed a guy. Well, hold on. Now JOK out for the year and Jordan Hicks retirement. And if they had not drafted Corey Schlesinger,
Carson
Schlesinger,
I was
did he go to Meta or Medina? Have they not drafted that kid, we would be talking about a huge hole
Yes.
at linebacker. I have screwed up Schlesinger's name since they took
But
him,
you
by the
got
way.
the last name, which is the hardest
Well, no,
part.
that's the one I normally screw up. I normally call it, is it Schlesinger? I got that right,
You just
so I
got
screwed up the first name.
Corey. It's all right. Carson, close enough.
Carson, Corey. We're going to know his name, I think, real soon because this dude is going to be really important. And I want to play, first of all, Jim Schwartz talked about him. And let's start here with what his coach has to say, his coordinator.
Talking about Carson, because with Jordan Hicks' retirement, it really accelerated his timeline of getting him. But everything we've asked from him, not only has he been able to do, but he's done a better job than maybe what we expected. He's got great size, he's got great quickness, he's got great speed, he's got great instincts, and he's made just as many mistakes as any other rookie. But he has not made any repeat mistakes. And I think you guys have seen some of the physicality that he's brought to our practices. His communication is as much improved. A college guy coming in, it's a different communication than in college, because a lot of colleges, they look over for the signal. Nobody really says anything. Here, he's a rookie. He's got to command the huddle. He's got to make calls and do a lot more things like that. And he's excelled in all those things. Really excited for him, and really happy to have both of those guys.
So he seems to like everything. And going back, I understand I kind of said this about Reese, what else is he going to say? But I do feel like he said some things there he didn't necessarily have to. And their first two picks were defense. Mason Graham, obviously, defensive tackle. Corey Schlesinger, the linebacker.
You said Corey again. Carson.
So I'm going to get that name down.
Just write it down.
Here's what I'm going to do.
Write it down.
We're going to write it down
or
here.
something.
Carson.
You're going to go interview him and call him Corey.
So I'm going
to.
I wrote it down. I can't see it. There's a weird white balance there. I'm going to work on Carson, and here's what I want you to react to. He feels like he has a chance to shine faster almost than Graham. Because Graham, he's on a defensive line with a lot of guys. Man, it is a vacuous hole at playmaking linebacker for this team. And Carson has a chance to really do some things.
Yeah, I was there. It was a couple weeks ago when we got to talk to him. We talked to, I think, Carson, and we also talked to Dylan Sampson. It was funny because, the day prior, Carson just, blew up Dylan Sampson on a play. Just absolutely blew him up. And we talked to Carson about it. And he was like, yeah, I like to hit guys, so it's been fun. It was after the first day of pads, and we talked to him. We're like, what'd you think? And you had that huge hit against Dylan. He was like, Yeah, it's fun. I mean, I'm a linebacker, so I like to go hit guys, and I've had fun going and hitting guys. And I was like, I feel like that's the mentality you need to have. Just like, they do, they're hungry dog spirits. Like, he's a dog that just likes to go up and wreck stuff and hit guys. And we asked him about, you have this huge hole now, right? Jordan Hicks leaving JOK, like you had mentioned. So you could really step up and be a playmaker as a rookie. Of course, much like when we talked to Dylan Sampson, no Quinshon Judkins at the time. Jerome Ford had been a little limited. We asked about his, expanded role and opportunity he could have. And both of those guys had said, like, I'm only focused on myself. It's the typical speak you get. Like, I'm focused on myself and getting better each day at the time, and opportunities will come when they come. But in the back of your mind, no, you have to be thinking, like, this is looking pretty good for me. I could have a shot to really go be a playmaker on this team. He's a guy, too, that he was only a starter at UCLA for a year, right? He was a walk-on. And so this is a gritty guy that knows how to work hard. I mean, it's not a shock. You said no one knew about him. When he was drafted, he'd only been a starter for 1 year. So this is a guy that's got a chip on his shoulder. And I think that fits nicely in this defense.
C-A-R-S-O-N.
Oh my gosh, you're still working on the name.
C-A-R-S-O-N.
This hallmark is taken away from this conversation.
C-A-R-S-O-N. Yes. Okay. Right. All right. We're going to wrap it up with this. Did you see the clip? It's making its way around social media. Shedeur goes up to Myles Garrett and basically says, you got any reps? You got any reps? And Myles like, what do you need, baby? He's like, you need a tight end. It ain't gonna be running back.
Yeah, he's like, you don't want me to rush the pass. You don't want me to rush you.
That got me thinking. Imagine Myles Garrett, doing one of the like the Watts used to have done that. J.J. Watt used to do it. We occasionally see, but imagine Hubbard did it for the Bengals. Imagine that nightmare on a little red zone play. That would be kind of funny. I want to see them dial that up.
It would absolutely be terrifying. And it was funny because we were talking to Kevin Stefanski about it and how you have to pull Myles back in these training camp practices, right? You're not going to let him go 100%, especially against these rookies or whoever. You're not just going to let him off the leash. And he was like, yeah, his least favorite thing is when we don't call sack. And he's like, hey, you got to be kidding me. But I think that's interesting how you manage that, how you slowly dial that up. But now if Shedeur's going to be facing first string for a little bit, he's going to get some heat. You're not getting Myles Garrett heat, but if you're second and third string O-line and you're going against first stringers from Carolina, he's going to get some heat we haven't seen before, get some pressure.
Well, and to kind of build off a point you had mentioned earlier, that he had not had any reps with the first team offense. He had said he faced the first team defense at least. So the Browns first team.
Right,
he's been on a field with first string NFL players. They just weren't on his side, so to speak. But yes, I would think that would help him on Friday night. All right. It's funny. We'll close with this. We get so excited about games. I say this in spring training, too, when it comes to baseball. You do this in training camp. You're so excited to get to games. You finally get to games. You get out there. You start the game. And then you're watching it, and you're like, when are the ones that count start?
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, we're so excited when we get here, but then all of a sudden, like, wait, can we just skip ahead to September and make them count? But we'll enjoy what we got, Well,
we'll at least have football, and I think it's going to be, this is what we've been waiting for. There's been so much talk around Shedeur. Are the Browns setting him up for success or not? And he's, really this very talented quarterback, and they're just not giving him an opportunity, so he's getting his opportunity. Let's see what he can do.
All right, and by all means, remember this. This is very important, and I'm going to say this. I'm going to throw out the caution, and it won't matter because everyone is going to still lose their minds. No matter what you see by, the backup, the Floria type of guys, if they're lighting it up, especially if somebody like Shedeur, Shedeur's playing starters this time, but generally speaking, anything you see in the second half by an offensive player will be done against guys that'll be driving a Pepsi truck in like a month and a half. All right, just keep that in mind. All right, I can't believe that guy didn't make the team. You got to remember the circumstances of the moment. So, Browns and Panthers Friday in Charlotte in Carolina in the preseason opener. That is going to do it for episode 2 of Off the Leash. Ashley Holder out on special assignment for Leah Doherty. Brian Duffy, Fred Greetham, I'm Mark Schwab. See ya!
Bye.